And we are live again. So, hey guys, welcome to another conversation, which is what we call Conversations of Excellence. And today I have Andreas Dorn. Before I even introduce him, let me tell you how amazing he is. He's just an absolute brilliant human being. We've been connecting for last 2-3 months,
Month.
maybe a little
Yeah,
more,
yeah.
maybe a little
I
bit,
think
4 5 months.
5 months I think in total. Something along that line. The time
Somewhere.
flies.
Yeah, about 4 5 months, and it's been such an amazing journey for me to be able to just connect with him and have this amazing conversations and learn with him. We've done a couple of sessions earlier on LinkedIn, which is going to be one of the focus of our conversation today. It may not necessarily be about LinkedIn, but it's definitely a platform, something that we're going to speak about. And now I've known Andreas for about 4 months. He lives in Malaysia, originally from Germany. He's an NLP trainer and does this amazing work in Malaysia, all around the world, so many different places. And one of the highlights for me specifically is the kind of community that he's built. It's absolutely brilliant. The kind of conversations that he has. So I'm just going to share this right off the bat that if you aren't connected with him on LinkedIn, you want to do this right now because he has this amazing conversation. He runs this session with some of the top masters and amazing NLPers and hypnotherapists from around the world. These are the kind
Inclusive
of people
you.
I think. Uh, Thank you. It was including me as well. Yes, yes,
Yeah, of course it was you. That's how we got
absolutely.
together. lah.
Yes, exactly. And some of the amazing people like Joseph Connor and Adriana James was there.
No, she
What?
actually canceled sadly, but we had Joseph O'Connor, Shelley Rose Chavet, David Chepper, so really great people so far, and you, of course, Nishit. So yeah, and it's rolling on next year. So we have a break now in December because one of the speakers can't make it. She has to celebrate. She has to celebrate her Christmas with her grandparents in a more remote area, and she mentioned it well more accidentally, and the internet connection, as usual, is not as good everywhere. So yeah, and we start next year in January back again, and I love
Ah,
it. So
amazing. I look
it's
forward to
about
it.
because as you mentioned, and you are an NLP trainer, I'm an NLP trainer. It's a beautiful tool. Many people have misconceptions about NLP, and my intention is to use LinkedIn, where there are many business people on LinkedIn, to invite great speakers onto the platform, speak to them, and share their knowledge, their ideas, their story on LinkedIn with my audiences, with more audiences, so that they and other people can experience how beautiful NLP, hypnosis, mind mastery overall is. That's my intention behind for
Great.
inviting those great people.
Amazing. So I'd love to explore that little bit, but just in a while, I'd love to know a little bit about your story. I mean, I gave an introduction, but which was more like formal introduction, but your story and how did you get here and how did you get to LinkedIn? Uh, and
Two
everyone would
different
love to
stories.
hear
How did
that.
I get here and how do I get into LinkedIn? Okay. Two different
Yes,
stories. Yeah. But
right.
they're a bit connected. Okay. Well, I came to Asia way back in 1993, and like all people coming from Europe, it's just a wonderful place to be. The variety of people, the diversity for the food. Like yesterday or 2 days ago, we had another StreamYard session about food in Malaysia, which was about Christmas, but it always ends up about food. The people around, the openness, the dynamic of Asia, that's attracted me to this place. And I decided to stay, married my beautiful wife, who's also an NLP trainer. Um, we moved to, but that came much later. We moved to Indonesia, Singapore. I went back to Malaysia then. Um, and along that line, I was always in change. I worked with the United Nations. I worked in market research, helping people to understand people's attitude and overall, and in HR consulting, mergers and acquisitions. And my drive was always about change, but more and more people told me it's hard to make changes and it's hard to create lasting changes. And I nearly got hypnotized by this one as well. And then I came across this beautiful tool of called NLP, neuro linguistic programming, way back in 2003. And I realized there is a tool, there's something that can help people to make changes at the mindset level and create lasting changes, create the life they deserve, desire to have. So I became an NLP trainer in 2005 or so. Opened my own company, Asia Mind Dynamics, and since then developed NLP training, offered NLP training to companies, to public trainings, hypnosis training, everything about the mind. 9,000 hours of training inside of me regarding understanding the mind. I was always very much into social media as well, Facebook, more Facebook actually, compared to first LinkedIn. Paddled a little bit on Instagram, and I'm still on on Instagram as well. Started one time in Twitter, but it's like a byproduct. I never really got the handle around it. And I think I was one of the early signups in LinkedIn. I think I don't even know right now how long LinkedIn exists. I think 2004 I signed up because it went around, but honestly speaking, never used it. And I think for once after I opened my own company, once a year, twice a year, I posted something on LinkedIn. Never really got across it. And then somewhere in 2019, it was 2018, 2019, a student of mine, an NLP master practitioner, he started a social media company as well, a really awesome social media company. He invited me over saying like, hey, Andreas, you need to be on LinkedIn. It's really the growing platform. Come over, get to the training. And I started to think about it slightly early already through a different channel, through some American marketing guru. And when I had the chance here in Malaysia to attend a training, also to support my own participant, of course, it blew me away. And the training I underwent, the coaching I underwent, I realized the power of that platform. I don't see LinkedIn as a social media platform. It's a different reframe I want to use because many people have a problem with social media. I'm wasting my time on social media. To me, LinkedIn is a business media, a platform for business people to reach out, to make their message heard, to get branding, thought leadership, learn, network, connect with each other. And since 2020 right now. Actually, since 2020, I'm actively on LinkedIn. Grew my audience, my connections from I think about below 1,000 initially when I started up to over 5,700 right now. So it's quite okay because LinkedIn is controlling that you're not spamming people, which is very important. Not spamming people in connection requests. So it's not rapid growth, but it's kind of like easier growth. But I'm putting out articles, posts every single day, network with people and talk a lot about hypnosis, NLP, mind management, and some personal stories as well. Like I was in Germany recently and just shared a couple of stories back to the hometown. And it's a lot about old memories flooding up. You know, we are all anchored, connected to those places. So, and it gave me a lot of insights of how I do connect what I learned at that point of time in Germany to what I'm doing here right now. So it's also quite an interesting thing. So yeah, would be happy to connect with anybody.
Amazing.
Back to you. It was a long introduction.
Yeah, amazing because there are so many brilliant beliefs that you shared that are such an important aspects of what we are kind of exploring today. And I think one of the things that really stood out was, and which is something I've experienced myself, and I've had to create that reframe. And I know that a lot of people also experiences this idea, seeing things as social media platform. There's a certain notion to it, right? But you created this amazing reframe in terms of that it isn't a social media platform, but it's a place for people to connect. It's a business, it's a business hub, sort of speak, and that's such a powerful belief to kind of take on and to have, and then operate with that. So what allowed you to create that shift for you?
What? Come again?
What allowed you to create that reframe or create that shift in your mindset?
It's not that I was sitting there meditating for hours to think about that, but it's like, yeah, I was on Facebook and I shared my stories. I have a page on Facebook. I did lots of LinkedIn of Facebook live sessions about NLP as well. It never really took off because maybe I was early in Facebook Live. I started up, and I think when Facebook just started up with live videos. So I think it was 2016 or 17 when they started up. So I did over 100 sessions about entrepreneurship and coaching and NLP and all that. But it never really took off and was a bit frustrating. And then I took a year off just before COVID when it became important to really go out and be live in December before COVID. So basically, Malaysia closed down in March 2020. December 2019, I was burned out and I didn't want to do it anymore. I was like, And then came that session on a training in February 2020. And I still had a bit of a issue. I had to teach myself about writing differently. So that is also very important.
Right.
You know, in Facebook, you give different posts out. It's much more personal. It's much more, you can share real stories or thought leadership stories in different groups. But if you're just having a normal Facebook page or so, it's much more posting pictures and talking about your holidays and baby pictures, and it's all over. And this guy comes up and sends maybe something about training or teaching something, and it doesn't quite fit in. But in LinkedIn, it's the environmental frames, then I think that I came in with a mindset of coming from Facebook, but in LinkedIn, it was then more or less the environment. I'm not saying the environmental conditions are bad or good, but it was like reading a lot, connecting with people, getting coaching around LinkedIn as well, how to communicate differently compared to Facebook. And then I realized, it was somewhere in June, July, I realized that stupid realization that happens, that as NLPers, we have those tools. I knew it always. And I always wanted to do something on like copywriting or so skills, because NLP copywriting is going hand in hand, persuasion, influence. But then in July, I realized I can use all those major toolbox that we have in NLP and put them into LinkedIn. And it goes way beyond the environment and connecting with people and building relationship, building rapport. It's one thing, of course, using the communication skills or tools of NLP to write some outstanding tools, but changing it a little bit, making more personal stories around it. So don't be hardcore only about selling, but subtle selling, social selling, selling without selling along that line. And then the major part came then towards the mid to end of end of last year, beginning of this year, to realize, and that's an important statement, I am the identity statement. I am working on LinkedIn to create my life, so to speak, my business. And I realized, it came from the social media part, I realized I spent 2-3 hours on LinkedIn. And I thought like, wow, such a long time. I could do something else. I could work my business. I could create a video. And I realized there's a disconnect. That's when I realized the disconnect. That I thought like LinkedIn is a waste of time. I could do something else for my business. And then I realized, no, LinkedIn is my business. LinkedIn is part of my business. It's just part of my genetic makeup of communicating, of talking, of putting myself out there, of marketing, of advertising, of sharing knowledge about whatever is happening in my life or in other people's life. Over to you, back. You're hypnotized in this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So the difference that I observe is that you had this realization that most people would like to have, right? You spoke about having so many different realizations over a period of maybe last 2.5 years, and somehow you sort of managed to have this realization, whereas other people want to get there, but they haven't yet, or they aren't able to. And I think it will be really, really interesting for people to know that how do you get that realization for yourself, and how do people, maybe you can share about you, and then how can people have that for others?
It starts with thinking about who you are as a person. See, LinkedIn is a business network. People put it out there saying like, hey, LinkedIn started up, also wrongly framed per se, saying like, we are a resume platform. We are for people who are looking for a job. Put your resume onto LinkedIn. And then people did this initially, and then every now and then other people put, like me initially, put up a sales page, hey, I'm doing my NLP training, blah blah blah, but nobody really responded, and it floated away. And then every now and then I wake up again and think, oh, I have to go on LinkedIn, what's going on? But it never really happened. The realization came through a conversation like we have here right now. The awareness about, hey, what else is there and what can I do? And there are two major points that I want to share with you along that line, if that's okay with you. One is, I'm not sure if you do know BNI, Business Network International,
Yes. Yeah.
where people come together, business people come together on a weekly basis to network with each other, refer a business to each other. And I was in BNI for 13 years here in Malaysia. And it was always like, it's similar, a similar wake-up call. It was like realizing that every time I need to do the work every single day to generate referrals for my members, hoping they generate referrals for me. Realizing, and that's sad to say that for some people, BNI really worked. I didn't get as many referrals as I thought I would have got. So I was a little bit blindfolded, okay? I didn't see the blind spot. I thought like, hey, it's great. I like to talk to people. I hang out around people. And then I realized I had to make a decision last year of either extending my membership in BNI, and I said like, no, I don't want anymore. What else can I do? Because I didn't want to do nothing anymore, and I still want to reach out to people. And then came my training, my coaching along that line about LinkedIn. And I realized LinkedIn is just like BNI. You got to go out there, create your credibility. Who are you? Why shall people connect with you? So you got to create visibility as well. The first visibility. Who are you? Putting stuff out, content out. And credibility. Why shall somebody listen to you? And along that line, not expecting it, but expecting it at a secondary level, maybe comes a profitability as well. So it was about the relationship aspect, that I don't necessarily want to meet people all day long from one person to the next, but being able to reach out to a number of people, sharing my message and identifying people that I want to work with, and also others coming to me that want to work with me.
Right.
So it's kind of the relationship aspect, business driven, plus, COVID, of course, helped us a lot as well, of saying like, you can't meet people anymore, you got to do something at home. And the pivoting moment, which was lucky for me, I was very active in video recording and all that stuff already, and social media at that point of time as well, to make that jump very quickly over into LinkedIn.
Right.
That helped you answering the question that you had. There was not really that light bulb moment. It was a couple of significant events that I had that expanded my neurology. Okay,
Right.
so Kickstart was basically, I am social media. I need to make changes. I need to help us survive over COVID, and then the relationship aspect, and then the inner beliefs shift overall. Okay, LinkedIn is not social media, but business media. Who am I? Am I really worthy or good enough, so to speak, even I as an NLP trainer, to put myself out there and entertain 5,000 people, 6,000 people? Can I make that happen? Will people listen to me? Will I get the contact or the comments that I want to have, some visibility? Will people do some comments on LinkedIn, okay? And then maybe even later on coming to you when I finally get the LinkedIn Live, same situation, okay? Will I be able to get great personality into my own LinkedIn Live? Will they say like, hey, I'm maybe like other people, I'm not on LinkedIn, why shall I invite? I don't know Andreas, why shall I talk to him about some moments in my life about NLP? So I had to put myself out again. But it's a proactive approach as well, maybe along that. So not sleeping, but consistency, and consistently creating high value content for people to get attracted to you. You mentioned earlier tribe, to be able to have a tribe of people who are saying like, hey, it's quite good stuff that you're creating there.
Right. Great. So let's sort of denominalize this, right? Because one of the things that you really mentioned was in terms of your relationship. How do you relate in your mind? How do you relate to people on LinkedIn?
On a lazy manner.
All right. I'd love to hear
I
more.
do it in a manner which is not necessarily the best, so to speak. I believe very strongly in attracting people. So I believe in attracting people through who I am, what I'm putting out there as a content. I'm not the type of person who is chasing people down.
Yes.
So even when people approach me for my NLP practitioner training, I'm not the one who is constantly calling them up and say like, are you signing up? Are you signing up? Are you signing up? I don't want that. I'm saying like, okay, if I'm the right teacher for you, you will come to me. So I have the conversation with you along that line. And if it's of interest to you, you will sign up. We can have 2 conversations. I have some people I have communication for a year before they sign up. They're contacting me and they're asking questions. They're asking some more questions. I'm patiently doing it. In similar fashion in LinkedIn, I'm putting content out. I'm connecting with people actively. But once they connect with me, what I'm not doing, what I should do is starting a conversation. I'm not necessarily doing it yet. I said to myself, and it's 5,000 connections, I'm going to do it more often. I'm not yet doing it. Maybe it's 6,000. I don't know yet. Okay. So I'm still, people come to me and saying like, hey, I know you do NLP. I enjoy your stuff. Tell me more about it. What does it take to become an NLP practitioner? And then we talk. So that's the denominalization that I'm relating to people through the stuff that I'm putting out there, which hopefully jives with some people.
Yes. And your first statement when you shared this was around it's who you are, right? It's who you are that sort of creates this space.
I think it's important. I think it's important. So again, it's away from just writing content. I'm writing, I got to write content. I'm not in the mood to write content. My state is coming in. I got to do so much other work. Why do I have to write on LinkedIn? That's behavior overall. But to say I am somebody on LinkedIn who is putting himself out there and a company and developing great stuff about NLP, about mindset management, about helping people create different stuff, different lives.
All right. And so that's who you are when you sort of work with LinkedIn. Very powerful.
I think so,
very powerful. Yeah. And that's such a big refrain, even for me, to see this experience of working with LinkedIn in a very, like we explored, it's a very different relationship than to experience it currently, to experience it right now.
It frees up to get the blockage off of saying like, it's like a time waster, it's social media, it's nothing happening. And once I had that off my mind, I just put stuff out. The neediness most likely disappears as well. So I have to create valuable stuff to justify my presence on LinkedIn. I have to create something outstanding. So I now can just put stuff out that really represents me some more along that line. And then I get business coming in, not necessarily every single day, but enough to say like, it's not as big as you might want to have it, or I might want to have it, but that's absolutely okay as well with me as well. But it's enough to support the company already.
Right. And how do you do that? Because that's also one of the things that I know a lot of people struggle with, is that how do you relate with yourself right now that's creating this outstanding content? How do you do that? How do you create outstanding content?
It's about, first of all, I have a relaxed mindset. So really a relaxed mindset. And that means overall not sitting there and some people say, like, for example, as a LinkedIn tip, there are certain times when you need to post. In Malaysia, it's oftentimes between 8:30 to about 11 o'clock. So in the morning time to get some traction in the post and nurture it along that line. But it's not about going to my laptop or so at 7:30 in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning and say like, what do I write now? What do I have to write? I have to write something. I do that as well every now and then, but it's more of like I have a routine. So I'm getting up in the morning time, about 7:30, 8 o'clock. If I don't have training, I have my breakfast. I play with my cat, and somewhere around 8:30, 9 o'clock, I'm going to my laptop and start working my LinkedIn. It's part of my calendar already. Now I do have already certain buckets that I'm writing about. People call it content
Right.
pillars or so. So one is,
Yeah.
for example, me personal, my own personal story. It's one. And bless
Excuse me.
you. So one is a bucket of writing about me, my background, my journey, my experience, what happens in my day-to-day life, and fine
Yes.
tuning a little bit about to NLP as well. Some is about talking about NLP as totally like that's NLP slash hypnosis slash the methodologies along that line. But some is also about giving people tips and tricks on how they can manage their mind to get to the next level. But it's also very, very important that you give the value, constantly creating value. And I have a list of topics, possible topics, which can last for possibly about 150 days of constantly
Wow.
writing. So topics,
Wow.
different tickets, basically speaking. And it's just headlines, but I do know there are stories behind. They need a little bit more time to create along that line. But say, for example, I love coffee. So NLP says like, hey, you got to manage your mind, get rid of addiction or whatever it is. And it's for me, I'm comfortable with my addiction of coffee. So I could write about why do I love coffee and not need to take it out using NLP.
Yes.
For
Huh?
example, okay, so it's a bit comfortable of who you are once again with your own little addiction. But if you need to take out something that you realize is impacting your life, easy to take it out through NLP.
Yeah.
I could write about that a week. So I'm having content for 1 week about stuff like that. And then
This
next week
is
I
this is
change the topic.
this sort of feels like an absolute gem of some of the stuff that you're sharing. I feel like people won't come to the conference because they're getting everything right now. Yeah, but it's brilliant. I mean, some of the things is, I think one important thing is to distinguish between in time and through time, is what you spoke about. That is not that you get up at like 8:30 in the morning and then start thinking about what you want to write about, but you have a little bit of through time structure in your mind to kind of
Yeah.
just focus on what are some of the things that you want to think about and experience, and sort of self calibrate, which I think is very underutilized uh, tool when it comes to social media. Or but just I think the more people self calibrate in terms of where they're at and what's going on with them, just like the way you said about coffee, I love coffee, and then you just self calibrate in terms of what's going on, and then that's just amazing outstanding content out there. And I think it's such a powerful tool to just be able to identify with yourself and really what's going on with you, and then it's sort of one of the things that I truly believe, that for us, we have like unlimited source of creativity within us, uh, and often people struggle to access that creativity. But if we just self-identify and calibrate, there's just so much that we can
Centering.
contribute to the world. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So there's one thing I'm not I want to add on what you said. So it's a through time attitude before I go online, but I'm a little bit in time in the moment when I'm on LinkedIn. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying the moment. I'm enjoying to comment on other. That's also relationship building. I have mentioned it earlier. Commenting through value on other people's posts, for example, as well. Interacting with people who are commenting on my post. And I'm okay to say like, hey, I am for 2-3 hours in the morning time until about 11 o'clock or whatever on LinkedIn, for
Yes.
example. And then having my wake up time saying like, oh gosh, I need to do something else. So, and I have a trigger because then my cat, sooner or later, my cat is a very important part of my life as well. You make me aware of it right now, actually, that my cat is coming up somewhere about 10:30, 11 o'clock, gets bored, meows around and wants to play. And then I'm getting out and I I need to finish some stuff. I'm coming soon playing with you. And then I break the state and play with her for half an hour or so. And then we're happy. And then I do something else totally.
Yes. Yeah. Great.
And regarding the value for the conference, I mean, this one here is really, really, really just general knowledge overall. Maybe it's deep for you already, and it took me a while to pack it up together. But when you're joining the session in the conference, and I really hope people coming there, this will go much deeper. There will be PowerPoint presentation. If possible, I can give PDFs away as well for people to really get started going on LinkedIn and create an impact.
Wow, brilliant. And so what are some of the sort of outcomes? And I mean, you already mentioned there's going to be a framework and PDF and presentation. So at the end of your session, where would people be at in terms of their experience and in terms of being on LinkedIn?
I have to think about that one, okay? It's in this area, I'm still very in time, okay? I do know where I want to bring them overall. I want to most likely go into the identity statement.
Right.
That's definitely one thing overall, and sharing knowledge about the content that they can create, some stuff along that line of what I call buckets to create for content, for example, as well, and the values they need to hold. So we are really going a little bit into the identity statement, of course, the linguistics framework, which is possible. For example, the reframing part, building connections and relationships with people and how to do it, avoiding spamming, because LinkedIn is really, really hardcore on spamming. So if you're selling too hardcore, and people complain too often about somebody, they might close the account and you have no chance getting it back. And just terrible if you have 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 connections and it becomes part of your life and they just close it down out of the spur of a moment because too many people complain about it. How to avoid that one, for example.
Yes.
So,
yes.
So I have to be honest here. LinkedIn is not my main business overall. I'm an NLP trainer, train people and doing this leadership and communication overall. Maybe the communications aspect plays in there. But I love, as we started up here earlier, I want to have more NLPers getting onto the platform to share their knowledge, to share their experience, to bring the knowledge of NLP out into the world. And that is my intention for that session overall. So that's why I chose that topic. I don't want to, there are many people who are talking about NLP overall and what NLP can do to them and how to break through by yourself. But I want to bring NLP onto LinkedIn some more. So it's a different thrive that I want to put in the conference.
Great. So let's talk about NLP a little bit. So how has NLP, or how does NLP kind of, because that's your topic, right? That how can we increase or have an impact on LinkedIn using NLP? So how has NLP helped you create this impact? I know some of the things that we already explored in terms of your identity and your relationship. And what else maybe is there in NLP that fits into this context of having more impact on LinkedIn?
I put it differently. The most important part, most likely, is as well that the realization that we can go on LinkedIn just like we can go on Facebook, but live is not on LinkedIn, live is not on Facebook. That you need to be able to then bring people out from the online world into the offline world. That you need to become comfortable and still say, despite COVID and everything, and economy is opening up, despite the new variant of Omicron or however it's called coming up, that we need to be able to reach out and meet people offline as well. So, and it's about, many people say that, but it's like, it's a really, really weird word now. It's about authenticity. And what is authenticity? It means to me that you are not projecting something on LinkedIn that who you are not. But then when people see you in real life, they're not saying like, I thought you are totally different, but they're saying they recognize who you are, that you are the same person on LinkedIn as you should be on Facebook or Instagram as you are in real life, that people are not getting the surprise. So I think it's a congruency.
Yes.
That you mentioned earlier, that you need to have the comfortableness within yourself, the neediness to get rid of, like, I need to create a business on LinkedIn, but being comfortable with yourself, being congruent from who you are into the environment of creating something beautiful.
And how do you do that? How do you be that?
It's about and I'm on the edge of really creating something on this one, and maybe before the conference is finished overall, I really want to write a document starting with the Robert Dills identity level, values level, capabilities level, behavior, and then the environment overall. That you are having that neurological levels of alignment somewhat in your mind become aware. That would help them to accelerate the process. For me, it was a journey.
Yes.
And for me, it started off as capabilities, learning how to express myself on LinkedIn, writing differently, the behavioral style, and still having then to realize, yeah, I am some NLP trainer, I am an NLP trainer. I want to say I am an influencer. I don't see myself as an influencer. It's like so outwashed. But I'm authentic. I'm trying to be authentic, and that means to be clear about who I am in my life overall, as a person on LinkedIn, as a trainer, as a coach, as a father, as a son, or whoever, however you want to do it, okay? And that I can do this anytime, anywhere. So I can sit in a coffee shop and answer comments and feel good about it. I can talk to people that I meet on LinkedIn in a coffee shop, and we don't necessarily only talk about LinkedIn, but also LinkedIn is a common trait then, of course, building on a core, but we have a great chat with each other and build a relationship and become best friends for life. Similar like we are talking on WhatsApp as well, Nishit.
Yes.
It's beyond this already then. It's about putting yourself out there as a person. The neurological level of alignment is a great tool to get started on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's sort of also from what you shared overall, the sort of essence of NLP, isn't it? Because you took a while, but now you can build a model, write a document, so that people like me can do it much faster.
And you helped me right now get even more clarity about it. It's about. See, that's what I mean. Okay, we met kind of accidentally along that line. We connected over LinkedIn then, so I learned more about you. I'm in the upcoming conference, which everybody should come to. This conference will be awesome overall. And then we are communicating on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp. Now you have me here. So it's about, that's exactly what I mean, using the online, when you chunk it up, it's like using the online world. I've got another thought coming in, okay? The online world, integrating it into your life.
Yes.
And that was actually something years ago. I talked to my wife and I said, like, I want to have the online world be much more present in company in our life. That was years ago. I just remember that statement, okay? Just came to me overall. And I think now it's crystallizing into this point here.
Yes. To me, that's very powerful. I mean, at some level, I identify with that, and I definitely would love to go even more deeper. I mean, one of the things that you said resonated with me so well. This idea that who I am naturally around people offline is who I want to be online. And I know that at this point I'm not. Maybe some places, sometimes, some context I am. It's not, I mean, it's never not and never always, but from time to time I can identify with the times that I can. And then there are other times when I don't. But to bring that level of comfort, to bring that level of, my sense of self I can, for me, it's like a huge metaphor because I'm super comfortable in the mountains. That's my sort of go-to place. Now imagine for me to bring that level of comfort online as well. It's such a powerful shift, a powerful perspective to have.
It's easy for you. I mean, I saw these beautiful pictures you took in Switzerland, for example, and I was doing something similar 2 years ago, I think, or 3 years ago, when we were in Amsterdam, my family and I had a Facebook Live session about one of those beautiful gardens that are existing in Amsterdam, and shared my experience. And you could do something similar. You could sit under a beautiful tree somewhere in Switzerland and just talk about how you feel and that you want to share this moment of truth with the world along that line, that you feel so good. But the challenge is, of course, that you are not going into the mountains or going into the forest saying like, where's a spot that I need to have here right now to share it? Or the special, just when you feel good about it, then you start sharing. That's, I think, is a switch of perspective along that line. Not looking for that spot to present something to the world, which might not be you, but you being comfortable and saying like, I feel good here right now, and that spot supports me, that place supports me. Now I want to share how I feel with the people.
Yes. Yeah. It's really interesting. So, from what you shared, yesterday, I was reading one of the newsletters that Michael Neal was sharing, and one of the things that he mentioned in that newsletter was this word called satsang. Satsang is a Sanskrit word, and that basically means, so in India there are a lot of this sort of rituals and satsangs where people get together for meditation and
Nice.
some sort of spiritual experience or religious experience. It could be anything. But what that word literally means is coming together to share your truth. And
Oh, wow. See, that's amazing.
yeah, and
That's an
that's what you
amazing.
said.
Yeah, that's you're attracting the right speakers to your conference already, okay? And so many people talk about the fake world of online, the missing out of who you are, the just think about it, how many hours people spend on being a consumer sometimes only on social media and realizing how much time they wasted later instead of contributing and so on. So yeah, and it's about the realization of who you are, then coming together, becoming who you are. And you can't remove the internet, you can't remove it, so you got to come to terms with it. And you are starting to create something here, Nishit, about authenticity online, the online authenticity maybe. Okay, I think it's amazing.
Brilliant. Oh, excellent. Thank you. Thank you. I love it.
Same here. It's a totally. I learned so much by just talking and by just asking by your questions already. That's like always trashing, and that's exactly what it is all about. Even this
Yes.
conference, most likely, so that
Yes.
it's about connecting with people and getting the insights. Okay, so getting the insights of listening to some speakers or participating. I think it'll be participation as well, and sharing stories and getting the insights and waking up. To me, it's always about
Yes.
waking up of who you are as a person and then putting
Yes.
yourself out there to not hold
Yes.
your message back, but make it happen. And your conference is putting great people together. I'm honored to be one of that many people there and honored that you invited me and considered me. And great people are sharing that wonderful tool of NLP, which is a big frame, but then you have so
Yes.
many different insights where people can learn. And even after the conference, still can learn when they're subscribing to it, I
Yeah.
think, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, this
And
is,
building a community, maybe even.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is a whole new perspective for me as well, in terms of just now thinking, not now, but I have thought about it, but this is a different perspective to think about this conference and this summit as a way for people to come together, to just be themselves, to feel alive, to share their truth. And that's such a powerful experience for all of us, because that's, to me, that's that's a way to really evolve and
Mm,
transform the world and what's going on in the world, just to come together. I mean, and to me, Summit is this place. Having this conference is this place, and we strive, Angela and I strive to make this a place where people feel belonged and people feel comfortable being themselves and to share their truth and connect at that level. And that's absolutely the crux of what we do and who we are, and all of us put together. And you've contributed so much to it, and all the speakers, and it's such at the very most simple fact of it, it's such a amazing tribe of amazing people coming together. And what else do we want in life?
exactly. Contributing, evolving, coming together and creating something awesome, isn't it? Becoming
Yeah.
us, ultimately. Forget about the walls we have in front of us, just becoming us of who we want to
Yes.
be as people.
Absolutely.
There's
Brilliant.
fulfillment and happiness and all that, and finding different platforms to express that.
Yes. Yes. This has been really, really powerful. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Andrea, for
Yeah, I
such a
love
great
it.
conversation. I loved it too. Yeah.
We have to repeat that one more time, somewhere along that line, even with or without people just chit-chatting along that line. I enjoy that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I
Your
could. I
questions
could
are
go on
funny.
for hours.
Oh yeah. Don't get me started, all right? We are giving the secret away, and people don't need to come to the conference anymore.
No, no, but I'm sure. I'm
Which would
sure
also
that's
be
gonna be so.
okay. It would also be okay if people don't come to the conference because they got a lot already. It's also fine. It's
Yes.
again about attraction along that line. Okay,
Yes.
the student comes when the teacher is ready. Is it no?
Yeah.
The teacher is coming and the student is ready.
Yes. Yes. For me, one of the most exciting thing is also to have this level of conversation. But imagine uh, having it with like 200, 300 people at the same time. It's just
Yeah, that
such a
would be
powerful
lovely.
space.
Absolutely. And imagine the input you can get. I mean, it's not just me talking, not just you talking, then I believe, but it's also like people asking questions and people
Yes.
pushing us to think like you pushed me. You don't know that, but you asked a couple of questions where I had to think like, this is a realization. When I came to a realization, that's what it is all about. People ask
Yes.
questions, and you suddenly get that insight, that realization of connecting the dots, and that's what it's all about. It's what life is about, evolution is about, isn't it?
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool.
100%. It's, I don't know who said that, but this is a quote from a famous person. I don't know, I can't remember the name, but it's through realization that we become alive. I
Hmm.
just, I just
Nice.
can't place who said that, but that's, yeah,
I can
there's
check it
truth
out
in that.
afterwards on Google, or maybe any of the viewers right now can Google it up and just type it into the comment. Okay, who said that quote?
Yeah.
Get another 10% off the price.
Good,
All
good, good.
right.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you so much for this amazing conversation. I
It's
really,
nearly
really enjoyed
15
it.
minutes already, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah, it
Ooh.
is. It is. Time flew. Time flew.
Time really flew by, yeah.
Yeah.
So, are we done, is it?
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time out today, Andreas. And I mean, there are some of the most amazing and exceptional insights. I'm sure that people who watched it live are going to get so much out of it. And of
I
course,
hope,
this
yeah.
video eventually is going to get watched by at least 3, 4 thousand people. So
Wow.
eventually, whenever you watch it, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of different things that you take away. But I think an important thing would be that if you can take few things from this conversation, right? Just take few things from this conversation, take an action, do something really, really small on LinkedIn, preferably, if not anywhere else. Take small action, and then just tag us, tag Global Summit, tag Andreas. We'd love to see what comes out of this. Just that small action has such a way to build that momentum.
Wonderful. Nicely said. All right.
Great. So thank you so much, Andreas, again, and thank you all of you for being with us and who's going to be with us in future. And we will have some more live sessions next week. But really, really important that if you haven't got your tickets for the summit yet, now will be a great time. There's an amazing discount going on for Christmas. So now it's the best time. That's going to be like almost 30, 35% off your
Wow.
actual ticket price. And over that, you can get 10 more percent just by using Andreas's code. So you can just do Andreas10 as a coupon code and you get close to 45% off on your tickets. So if you
Wow. That's
haven't
a good
got the tickets
offer.
now, yeah, right?
Best chance now. Until when is the discount? Is that valid until when?
It's still Christmas, I think till about 26th or 27th of December.
Wow. But don't think, just take it now, okay? Don't
Yes.
just get it done. Get over it and get it done, okay? Postponing is not good, all right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. So do that right away, and I will see you all for the next episode when we have the Conversations of Excellence next week. So take care and see you guys. And thank you, Andreas, again. And see you.
Thank you. Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye.